Why did you let me kill me?
The third time I saw the face in the baby monitor, I wasn't even in the house. I was sitting in my car at a red light 3 blocks away, staring at the handheld screen on the passenger seat, watching a version of myself sit in our nursery and hum a song I didn't recognize to an empty crib. I'm a delivery driver. It's a mindless, lonely gig, but it paid the bills while my wife, Sarah, was doing her residency at the hospital. We just moved into this sprawling, drafty rental on the edge of town, the kind of place where the floorboards groan if you even think about walking on them. We don't have a kid yet. Sarah's pregnant, 5 months along, and the nursery was the only room we'd actually finished. We bought the top-of-the-line monitor system early, motion sensors, night vision, the works, mostly because Sarah's a bit of a worrier. It started about 2 weeks ago. I was working the graveyard shift, the 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. block where the only people ordering food are exhausted nurses or people who've forgotten how to sleep. I keep the monitor receiver in the cup holder. It's connected to our home Wi-Fi, and since I'm usually within a 5-mile radius, it stays linked. At first, it was just the audio, a soft, rhythmic clicking. I thought it was just the house settling, or maybe a branch hitting the window. But the sound had a cadence to it. It sounded like someone tapping a fingernail against the plastic casing of the camera. I'd pull over, check the video feed, and see nothing but the green-tinted stillness of the nursery. The rocking chair was still. The plush elephant was in the corner, empty. Then the motion alert started. 3:14 a.m. My phone would buzz in my pocket while I was handing a bag of Thai food to a customer. I'd check the footage, and the rocking chair would be moving. Just a tiny bit, a gentle, persistent sway, as if someone had just stood up from it. I told myself it was the HVAC system. Old houses have weird drafts. I told Sarah, and she laughed it off, saying the house was just getting ready for the baby. But the next night, it got specific. I was driving down 4th Street when the monitor crackled to life. It wasn't a click this time. It was breathing. Heavy, wet, labored breathing. The kind of sound someone makes when they've been running for a long time and their throat is raw. I pulled over, my heart slamming against my ribs. I looked at the screen. The camera was shaking. Not like a breeze was hitting it, but like a hand was gripping the mount. The night vision flared, turning the room into a washed-out white. And then, for a split second, a finger crossed the lens. It was long, too long, and the skin looked like damp parchment. I hauled ass home. I broke every speed limit, ran 2 red lights, and burst through the front door with my tire iron in hand. I sprinted up the stairs, screaming Sarah's name. I kicked the nursery door open. Nothing. Sarah was sound asleep in our bedroom, completely oblivious. The nursery was freezing, colder than the rest of the house, but the window was locked and the chair was still. I checked the camera. It was bolted tight to the wall. No fingerprints, no dust disturbed. The escalation happened fast after that. The gaps between the events shortened from days to hours. The next night, I was sitting in the driveway, about to head out for my shift. It was raining, one of those heavy, oppressive summer downpours that turns the world gray. I turned on the monitor just to satisfy the itch in my brain. The screen flickered. The nursery was dark, but the motion-activated light on the monitor turned blue. Something was moving. I watched, paralyzed, as the closet door drifted open. Slowly, inches at a time. From the darkness of the closet, a pair of shoes slid out. My shoes. My old work boots that I'd left in the mudroom downstairs. They moved across the carpet as if someone invisible was wearing them, stopping right in front of the crib. I didn't go to work. I stayed in the nursery all night with the lights on. Nothing happened. But the following night, I had to go. We needed the money. I was 5 miles out, near the industrial park, when the monitor chirped. I looked down. There was someone in the rocking chair. They were hunched over, their back to the camera. They were wearing my favorite flannel shirt, the one with the bleach stain on the sleeve. The figure was vibrating, a high-frequency tremor that made the video feed grainier than usual. I called Sarah. She didn't answer. I called again. Voicemail. I started driving home, my eyes glued to the screen in the cup holder. As I hit the 3-mile mark, the figure in the chair turned around. It was me. It was my face, but it looked like it had been molded out of wet clay and left to sag. The eyes were too wide, showing too much white. The mouth was open in a perfect, silent O. It leaned toward the camera, and the audio hissed with that wet breathing. "Sarah," the thing said. It used my voice. It sounded exactly like me, right down to the slight rasp I get when I'm tired. "Sarah, come here. Look at the baby." I hit 80 miles per hour. I was screaming at the screen. "Get out! Get out of my house!" On the monitor, I saw the nursery door open. Sarah walked in, rubbing her eyes, wearing her maternity robe. She looked exhausted. "Jack," she muttered, looking at the figure in the chair. "What are you doing home? I thought you had the late shift." The thing, the version of me, stood up. It was taller than I am. Its limbs moved with a sickening, jerky fluidity, like a marionette being handled by an amateur. It stepped into the light, and I saw that its feet were backwards. "I came back for you," the thing said. It reached out a hand, its fingers elongated as they moved toward her face. I was 2 blocks away. I screamed as I watched Sarah smile. She actually smiled, and take the thing's hand. "Your hands are so cold," she said. I slammed the car into park in the middle of the street and lunged for the front door. I didn't even use my keys. I threw my shoulder into the wood until the frame splintered. I roared up the stairs, my lungs screaming, "Sarah! Sarah, get away from him!" I threw open the nursery door. The room was empty. No Sarah, no double, just the rocking chair, swaying slightly in the draft. I ran into our bedroom. Sarah was tucked under the covers, snoring lightly. I grabbed her shoulders and shook her awake. She gasped, her eyes snapping open in terror. "Jack, what's wrong? What happened?" "The nursery," I wheezed. I saw you on the monitor. Someone was in there with you. He looked like me." She stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "Jack, I haven't been out of bed since you left. I've been asleep for hours." I dragged her into the nursery. I showed her the monitor. I went to the history to play back the footage. I needed her to see. I needed to know I wasn't insane. I hit play on the 3:45 a.m. clip. On the screen, the nursery was empty. The closet didn't open. The shoes didn't move. There was no one in the chair. But then I saw it. In the video, the bedroom door, the one we were currently standing in front of, opened. I saw myself enter the room. I saw myself screaming. I saw myself grabbing Sarah's empty side of the bed and shaking the air as if a person were there. In the video, Sarah wasn't there. The bed was stripped to the mattress. I looked at the Sarah standing next to me. She was crying now, gripping my arm. "Jack, you're scaring me. Why are you looking at me like that?" I looked back at the monitor. In the live feed, I was standing in the nursery alone. There was no Sarah next to me. There was no Sarah in the house. I felt a coldness settle in my marrow that I knew would never leave. I looked down at Sarah's hand on my arm. Her skin was warm. Her pulse was steady. She felt real. She smelled like the lavender soap she always uses. "Jack," she whispered. I looked at the monitor one last time. The version of me on the screen, the one who was alone in the room, looked directly into the camera. He wasn't crying. He wasn't scared. He leaned in close, and the audio crackled. "She's been gone for months, Jack," the voice said. It wasn't my voice anymore. It was a hollow, echoing sound like wind through a pipe. "You've been feeding a memory. You've been delivering food to a ghost. Don't you remember the accident?" The memory hit me like a physical blow. The rain, the hydroplaning, the truck that didn't see us on 4th Street, the smell of burning rubber, and the sound of Sarah's last breath. I looked back at Sarah. She wasn't crying anymore. She was just standing there. Her face began to sag. Her eyes widened, showing too much white. Her feet slowly rotated until the heels were facing forward. "Eat your dinner, Jack," she said. She held up a bag of Thai food, the same bag I had delivered 3 hours ago to an empty house on the edge of town. I realized then that the monitor wasn't showing me the supernatural. It was the only thing showing me the truth. I'm still in the house. I haven't left the nursery in 3 days. Sarah, or whatever is wearing her skin, is sitting outside the door. She's been humming that song for 72 hours straight. Sometimes she asks if I want to feel the baby kick. I stay in the corner with the monitor. It's the only place I can see the room for what it really is, empty, rotting, and silent. But last night, the monitor's battery started to fail. The screen is flickering. And in the glimpses of the real world the camera provides, I can see the door handle turning. The things we lose don't always leave. Sometimes, they just wait for us to forget they're gone. If you made it this far, you understand why I don't trust my own eyes anymore. Subscribe if you want to hear what happens when the battery finally dies.